I feel like throughout the entire Browns sphere, I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but this is just what I feel from what I've been consuming, is we have had a ton of opportunity for a lot of negativity. And look, some of this negativity is simply criticism of a team that deserves to be criticized. But also, some of this kind of throws itself in a void where it's not helpful just because the tone of it isn't meant to be helpful. It's just meant to be woeful. So what I want to do over the course of the next few days, since the Browns don't really have a game this week, and since that's the case, I want to not just talk about the things that I feel like are still here to look forward to for this season, whether you think this team can still make the playoffs or not, just about the team itself. And also, I want to workshop some things over the course of the next few days that are wrong with this team and really try to figure it out rather than just screaming random fixes from the rooftops. Like, let's try to workshop some of these things. Let's workshop some of these suggestions. Let's see what the issue is with this team and get a better read on it. So in the offseason, if they do make some changes, we have a better ideal of if these changes are going to be something worth being excited about. So since that's what I want to do, I'm going to start this off with a more positive video. And by the way, that's why I'm in wine and gold right now, because the only positive thing that's happened with any of the sports teams is the Cavaliers. So shout out to them. I'm back on that wagon. But let's talk about the Browns and the 5 things that Browns fans can still look forward to watching on Sundays with this team. So before I talk about the Browns, I want to give a shout out to the faithful patreon.com dog check tier members. I want to appreciate y'all. Y'all have stuck with me through thick and thin, and it starts with Michael Matique, Camvex, Jaleel Salim Jr. and Sr., Caleb Pickering, Benjamin Woods, Michael Terry, Sam28, Wani Boy, Rob Morehouse, Tyler Chiz, Michael Morales, Mark Kahn, Max Haymaker, Nick Merrick, D.A.J., Joe Hart, Gabriel Wilson, Fred Pat III, David Valtiar, Relentless Buck, Rex Kaufman, Kevin Johnson, Cleveland Cart, Matt H., Sign Sheets, Gemini, Leon Freeman, Fight 3074, Chunt, Yo-Yo, Matt Lloyd, Paul Wilcox, Hondo Magnifico, Cal Stoffer, Lukey from Munich, Dave Roth, J Guy 101, Musty Taco, Brad Cowbo, Dylan W, James McGinley, Arendal, Chad Gimme, David Maldonado, Josh Spindor, Austin Rich, Mark M, Stuart Moore, Dylan Hill, Cleveland BCI, Robert Germain, Dave Mike May, Andrew Hirsch, Curtis Bear, Batman, Barack Kumar, John Albert, Beerman 069, Masayua, Buds Roland, Mac House, Reeve Hertz, Philip Wilcoxon, Marie Vivert, Sean Barron, Goggles Pisano, Dom Gazzulo, Nick Nasty, Ian Whitaker, Colin 216, Christian, Dave Strong, Michael Stone, Soul Train, Billy, Moose Gentry, Austin Z, Mark Burnett II, Andre Griffin, Otis Wolf, Dog Pound Kai, Greg Ehlers, Austin Bolin, Lydia Mahawk, Alexander Davis, Chris Falms, Picktown Browns backer, Max Nilakenko, Max Al Dojo, and Water Bear Marketing. Again, guys, thank you so much. Now, the Browns this year, look, it's been a rough season, right? Super Bowl aspirations that I felt like were fair at the beginning of the year that this team has not lived up to. Some answers that you thought you had with the coach and the quarterback are up for question again. And it feels like in many ways that the Browns are back where they started the 2020 season in, right? They're exactly back there. They took a bunch of steps forward in 2020, and then they took the same amount of steps backwards. So there's a lot of frustration when you do that, right? Whenever you make progress just to go back, it's going to be frustrating. And that's where Browns are. And that's why a lot of Browns fans are frustrated, and why I can't blame Browns fans for being angry or not wanting to be optimistic. So this is not going to be a list about how the Browns can still make the playoffs, even though it's possible. I'm just going to be realistic here. I don't think this is a team that's been playing at a level that they can put it together randomly after this bye week. I would be happy to be proven wrong on that. But, I'm not going to pump y'all up for a playoff run when I don't think this team has played anywhere near close to that level. But there are still things that aren't the playoffs to look forward to if that's not going to be the case, that we can learn about this team and everything going forward. And the first thing to look forward to for the rest of your season is the most obvious thing. He's the best player on this team, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett has had a career year already, and the season still has a bunch of games left. Myles Garrett has been phenomenal all year. Myles Garrett has been a blast to watch. I know there is a small vocal super minority of people who don't think Myles Garrett is productive as some of his numbers would indicate, but I would just say those people are wrong. I think Myles Garrett is actually much more productive than his numbers would indicate. He is somebody who has become a force in the run game. He is somebody who has become a headache for every single team, somebody who can break through and get 14 sacks when they're not calling holding, when every team is doubling and triple teaming him. He is dominant, right? Other players can get more sacks or have had more sacks in the season than Myles Garrett, but do they do it with the same degree of difficulty that Myles Garrett does, right? A lot of times, you get these guys who pop off for one season for 19 sacks is because they're not somebody who teams are keying in on. Myles Garrett, since the day he stepped in the NFL, was somebody that teams were keying in on, and this is what he's been able to do. So Myles Garrett, he's going to be fun to watch for the rest of this year. And look, I don't know if the team is going to perform great for the rest of the season, but I do know or have good confidence that Myles Garrett is going to at least put on a show for you. And, any speck of greatness that we can get at this point, I think we should appreciate. And I think Myles Garrett is going to provide a lot of greatness throughout the years that we can watch. And I think that's something to definitely look forward to. The next thing that I have to look forward to is the answer to some questions, right? And this first question that I have here is this defense for real? Right? I know we've gone back and forth on this defense, and for good reason, right? Because the defense will put together 2 dominant performances and then give up 45 straight points. It's happened multiple times this season where they have had dominant performances and then given up 40 points, and then have had dominant performances and then given up 40 points. The Chargers and the Patriots game both happened in that pattern. So it's fair to ask if this defense is for real, but when they're playing well, they're really one of the better defenses that you can have. And if it weren't for some abysmal offensive play, I think they would have been responsible for at least 2, 3, or even 4 more wins that this team could have had on top of the wins that the Browns already have just because of how on the strength of their defense. So that's what I want to find out. Is this defense for real, right? I know that we started off the season, fired Joe Woods and all of this, but the only unit of this team that has moved on the similar trajectory that we thought this team would have to go to win a Super Bowl or to be Super Bowl contenders, the only unit that's done that is the Browns defense, right? They have progressed on the level that we thought they would progress at by this point. I mean, look what they did with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, Lamar was throwing some bad interceptions, so the turnover ratio, that's going to be a little overinflated. But that's not what really impressed me, right? The interceptions don't really impress me as much as how much they forced 3 and outs versus the Baltimore Ravens. I believe the Ravens had 12 possessions. Only 11 of those possessions ended with them either punting or giving the ball away. That's dominant, baby. That's great. That's a great defensive performance. It's sad we couldn't capitalize on that because the offense didn't do anything, but the defense has played really, really, really well, and I'm wondering how much of this is for real. And when you look at the secondary, right, the most inconsistent part is defense, who has shown flashes of being excellent, but also flashes of being horribly inexperienced. You wonder, hey, when these guys get more experience, like a JOK, and more snaps like a Grant Delpit, and who else is young out there? Oh, Greg Newsome. Once those guys get used to being out there and get those rookie mistakes out of their system, how good can this defense be, and can it be one of the strengths of this team? Well, that's what we're going to look forward to finding out. And along that same line, my number 3 thing to look forward to is these young defensive pieces getting unleashed, right? The Browns are reaching the point of the year where it's break glass in case of emergency. So maybe we see more exotic looks from JOK. Maybe we see JOK having more responsibility. I saw that in the Baltimore game. JOK was playing middle linebacker, covering tight ends, doing things that, they haven't let him do all year, but it seems like they're unleashing him. They're taking the cap. They're taking the limiter off, right? They're letting him be JOK and fly around the field. And the more he does that, the more excited I get about that young man's future with this team, because he's a really, really excellent football player. Like, I can't talk enough about how much I think of JOK as a football player and how good I think he's going to be. But seeing these young pieces get unleashed, seeing Grant Delpit get more confident as a football player and where he's supposed to be, and then getting some freedom assigned with that to make some plays when he has that athletic ability, when he has that ball hawk ability, and when he has that strength and size. That's something to get excited about. Seeing Greg Newsome get more responsibility and seeing if he could take over that cornerback one position or occasionally cover a number one wide receiver so we don't have to have Denzel Ward follow all the time, or even can let Denzel Ward play the slot so we can use some of our extra depth on the edges. That's going to be something that you want to look forward to for this defense. And offensively, there's not. So that's what I'm super excited about for this year. I want to see these young defensive pieces get out there, be unleashed, and really wreak havoc out there and show us if this defense has some true long-term potential to be really excited about. Because, again, if you pair a Grant Delpit with a JOK, with a Greg Newsome and a Denzel Ward, and you already have a Myles Garrett, and maybe you can even keep Malik McDowell or Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, those are 7 players worth being really excited about on your defense, and that's something to truly look forward to. The next thing that I'm looking forward to is the evaluation of Baker Mayfield. Now, I'm not saying this in some kind of cynical way. I don't want Baker Mayfield to come out of this season and the Browns are truly willing to trade for another quarterback. That's not how I want this season to end. But I am interested to see, with all of this criticism, with how badly he has played throughout the last 3 weeks, how is he going to take in this bye week? What adjustments are they going to make? How are they going to do things to make the passing game more effective and to make Baker Mayfield more effective from a coaching standpoint? And what Baker Mayfield is going to look like, because I think a lot of this team's immediate future hinges on what Baker Mayfield can be in the very immediate future, right? That's what this season and what next season is going to be about, because Baker's going to be back next season. He's not has that 5th-year option. It's going to be very hard to trade him, and you can't release him. So he's going to be back next season. He's going to be the quarterback next season. So you need to figure that out this season, because you want to be able to put Baker Mayfield in the best position to succeed possible next year, so you can truly just figure out once and for all, do you want to pay him or do you want to let him walk? Is this worth keeping or is this worth letting go? So you don't make the mistake that the Falcons made with Brett Favre or the Chargers made with Drew Brees. You want to make sure that you're sure on that decision. And I think the rest of this year is going to be a nice evaluation period of Baker Mayfield. I understand Baker has been playing through some injuries, and that does affect some of the evaluation with him, but also there are other things that are not injury related that I want to see Baker Mayfield improve in, like his pre-snap reads and his checks, and when he checks in and out of runs, that I feel like they can try to fix during the bye week. But that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. And the last thing I'm looking forward to is the return of Stump Mitchell, because, man, since Stump Mitchell then left the sidelines, the team has lost their mind. They have completely, utterly lost their mind. It's wild how how that is lined up. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the return of Stump Mitchell, because I think Stump Mitchell is somebody who's primed to get some more offensive responsibility in the offseason, whether it's because the Browns let go of offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt, or if it's just because they want to elevate his role in this offense and get more input from Stump. I think we're going to see more out of Stump once he does come back, and that's going to be interesting to see, because the Browns do need to make some adjustments. They need their best coaches in the room with them, and as good as a coach as Bill Callahan is, Stump Mitchell is that good of a running back coach, and I think he has a great offensive mind that needs to be, that should have maybe a little bit more input than he has right now. And I'm looking forward to see what that does. And also Stump does add a factor on the sideline that is immeasurable. So we're looking forward to getting Stump Mitchell back hopefully sometime this year. But that's my 5 things that I'm looking forward to for this Brown season, or what's left of this Brown season. Let me know what you're looking forward to down in the comment section below. But again, guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Have a good night.